So we're back out going farther down the tunnel now. That's where we came from. Now we're headed down this way. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dodge channel. I'm here with my buddy Justin today. We're right outside Centralia in Ashland. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at this Pioneer Tunnel museum and mine tour. Give you guys a little extra look at the Pioneer Tunnel. All right, so we're out here at the Pioneer Tunnel. We're gonna go take a tour of the old Pioneer Tunnel mine tour on the old mine cars. Get a little bit of information about the place and what's going on, and come join us. So here we are, we're on this ride, and we're going to go into this mine. It's pretty cold in here. Can't really see anything. There we go. Thank God for auto stability. So you can't really hear me right now. We're filming inside the mine. This is very bumpy. To be in an old mine like this, it's pretty neat. Stop.
We're gonna have to get out and walk.
Alright, or we're gonna get out and walk here.
Alright, first of all, I'd like to welcome you all to the Pioneer Tunnel. Now, what you're going to be touring today is known as the first level of this mine. This mine was once owned and operated by Reading Coal and Iron Company. They ran this level from 1911 to 1931, and at that time they did employ 35 men, 10 mules, and just a handful of young boys. And with this limited bit of manpower, they were expected to get at least 400 ton of coal out of here each and every day they worked. Due in part, folks, there's extensive rock tunnel we're riding through on our way in here today. Our rock tunnel is about 1,800 feet long. It does run from north to south. We also cross through about 13 different veins of anthracite coal on our way in here. All our veins of coal run east and west. And actually, folks, right now you're kind of sitting in what is known as the heart of the anthracite district. These veins of coal do run about 35 miles in each direction, east and west from us here. Which brings us to actually why we stop in this area. Give everybody a real quick look at this. This here is one of the veins of coal we have on our way in here. You folks will get a real good look. We'll come by here real slow when we pull out. This here is what's known as the Mammoth Vein, and for good reason. The Mammoth Vein is essentially the world's largest vein of anthracite coal. In some areas, it will run up to over 250 foot in thickness. Where you are all sitting here today goes from right here, which is known as the bottom rock, or the strike of the vein, about 55 feet down that way past our electric mine motor there. The first set of timber you all see way down there. The vein of coal is essentially 55 foot thick right here where we sit. And another thing you folks should take notice to is the pitch at the bottom rock there. It runs on about a 65 degrees pitch in this particular area. And folks, I can tell you, if we get in that vein of coal from where we sit right here today and follow that bottom rock all the way to the top of the mountain until we pop our heads outside, we're actually sitting right now about 400 feet straight underground. Everybody seems really comfortable with that. Here today. Any questions so far? All right, we'll bend it. Good.
A vein in there. That's one of the cool veins. Big buck leader vein. Yeah. So we're gonna get out. We're out here and we're walking around. Gonna check this coal mine out. It's a pretty nice tour up here so far up at Pioneer Tunnel. Could you imagine? Could you imagine walking down here and working down here?
Yeah.
No.
I would not like being down here.
Pretty harsh conditions, I imagine. And back when this was running, I bet you. What did you see the Chernobyl? The Chernobyl on Amazon. I bet you that they would look at those guys when they pulled out the pool, just black, covered in black. It's pretty neat. Sorry. That's pretty neat. So let's take a look and walk through. What we're looking at here is the walls of the tunnel inside the cave. It's pretty neat. See all the condensation and everything. It's nice and cool down here. Like I always thought we were gonna be out in the heat all day. I'm thinking if once we get out of here, we'll probably go and shop from the heat because it's so cool down here. It's like air conditioning.
Alright folks, we're actually now standing in another one of the veins of coal we have here. It's what's known as the 7-foot vein. We're actually standing in what's known as the gangway vein. You can actually get a little bit better idea than just being picturing our coal vein. Just take a look right over there. There's the slice of the coal vein, starts down here, goes up like that, about 65, 68 degrees pitch right here where we stand. And I can tell you folks, to this day here in the anthracite, working underground, we still don't have any machines that come in here and do all the mining for us. To this day, it still takes men to go up there after the coal. You all want to take a peek on up here.
I already did.
This here, folks, is what's known as a chute. That chute goes up there about 20 feet until it connects to what is known as a miner's heading. Now, a miner's heading is simply nothing more than a 3 to 4 foot diameter hole running horizontally with the vein of coal. We do this, well, number one, for ventilation. To get rid of the bad mine gases, some of the dynamite smoke, and that ventilation also helps a little bit with the coal dust. Also, the miner headings are a great place to stash them for supplies and for day's work. Follow me on that here.
What do you think? You think they still mine this? Because the way he's talking, sounds like they still mine. I think they might still actively mine this mine, the way the tour guide is talking. That would be pretty neat to be in an active mine. It's a little mannequin of a miner. He's got a
Come on in here,
mining tool.
folks. We're all friends there in the coal mine. I'm not gonna fight you.
There's a huge vein going up, all the way up. Look at that, wow.
I just like climbing up there.
All right,
Not
folks,
for me.
Some people wonder, well, how in the heck to get up and down from that thing. Now, although when you're working these chutes are breast up, you are kind of in the condition you see that one back there. Every once in a while, and today, due to federal law, every 5 of these chutes are breast, we gotta back out and put something like this in. This here's what's known as an anway. Simply nothing more than a series of ladders. Make it a little bit easier to climb up and down every day. Now, folks, in the early days of mining, back in the colliery days, just like today, in our 6 remaining active underground anthracite mines, guys that come in here with this ladder in the morning known as pitch miners. Them are the guys that work up the pitch all day long. 2 or 3, maybe 4 of them generally. They come in here to one of these ladders in the morning with all the tools and supplies they need for a day's work. Of course, every day they're gonna need some mine timber, plank, and dynamite at bare minimum. They'll all get out up here on this ladder, spread out a little bit first thing in the morning, and do what we call a wood shift. That means they're gonna shift all the materials up there to the working face before they can even get to work. And at the end of the shift, this is where everybody come back down to meet just before they head outside, just to make sure everybody's still counted for. Any questions so far? Back here.
That shaft goes up a long ways, and he said they had to climb up there to get the coal.
That goes up 150 feet.
150 feet to go up. Big hike. That's a big hike to get up there to get coal. So if you're afraid of heights or tight spaces, that wouldn't be for you. Right here, you got an old mining tools there. That looks like a hand drill.
That's probably what they drilled it into their memory.
Yeah. And then the inspection. You think they put that date on there just to put it on there? Because it look, that's today's date, right? 7/40.
So they have to inspect it every day before people are allowed to come in.
Wow.
All right, folks, now obviously when we're sending all that coal down from up above, we're not just gonna let it drop out of that vent right into the gangway floor. That'd be insane, because then you're gonna have to scoop it all back up again.
Here's another ladder
It may look something like
and a
this,
shaft
simply with
going
the
up.
chute that we built. Now, in the early days of mining, folks, you would have had sitting up there on a nice cozy cart what was known as a hand loader. We'll all get to see a little bit better example of a hand loader a little later here in our course. We also had mules and mule tenders working underground. A mule would be hooked up to a line cart, kind of similar to the prop you all see back there, but again, we'll see a better example of a real line car later here in our course. Them cars would run anywhere from a 4, 5, or 6 ton car generally. That mule tender back to his mule line cart underneath one of these chutes. It's the hand loader's job up there, sitting up there, to pull these things, which are known as check pulleys. Do any kind of prime pounding, whatever they gotta do to get material released out of that chute, load it in the buggy so they can get it outside. Now, folks, we do know, in fact, the colliery did mine this very vein we're standing in here today, and where we see right here today. That is where they stopped. We stopped this gangway about back in the late 1920s. Can't remember the exact date, I have to look on the maps again in this place. They stopped there back then for what they thought to be good reason. They hit what is known as a pinch in the coal. Anybody here have any idea what a pinch is? There you go, sir, you got it. It's actually a pinches. You have your top rock strata, your bottom rock strata, all anthracite coal in between. One of them rock strata start coming together, you start losing that coal seam. It's actually known as a pinch. We can get a better visual idea if we all spin around right now. Again, folks, up here, this is the actual top rock. Now, if you look down here, this thing kind of looks like the start of a slide board into that water. That's actually the actual bottom rock of this thing. So if you can all imagine one day at a time, they were driving that in, that bottom rock was actually right about here, folks, and up kind of in the pitch of the top rock there. They had about 8 inches of coal coming in here. Now, obviously, that's not gonna help you get any bills paid, and actually, when we're firing that little bit of coal out with all this rock, it's not even worth your time and effort to try to separate it. You take it outside, load it up, and it is all done.
So right here is where they hit the cool pinch, where they stopped because the cool would pinch off and it wouldn't be worth going any farther, correct?
Yep.
So they stopped mining here, and they stopped mining in this location about in the 1920s. They stopped this gangway. So that's pretty interesting. So we're back out going farther down the tunnel now. That's where we came from. Now we're heading down this way. Second opening. So that's that vein there. They must have stopped that
All
here.
right, folks, stop here and show everybody this thing. This here is the actual antique mine stone. This stone's well over 100 years old. Any piece of information we think is about these stones were actually used here underground in our mines before anybody ever had them in their homes or on any street corner. Kind of hard for most of us to imagine here today, I'm sure, with all these fancy smartphones we have. But I can tell you what, folks, you can get any one of your smartphones out in here and try to call out for help. And nobody's gonna answer you because they're not gonna work in here. Still the best form of communication. Now, folks,
No service.
that's right. If everybody in here has service and it works, I'll tell you what, I'll buy the phone off you right there.
It's that old
All right, folks, now to introduce you all, one of our pals here at the Pioneer Tunnel, if he's gonna behave again. His name's Wilbur. He's our resident rat. Now, folks, rats and bats, they are actually kind of important underground in the mines. They're actually going to tell you a whole lot about what's going on around you, and a heck of a lot sooner than most of them fancy electronic devices we're made to carry today. One reason is they're both very, very highly sensitive to any types of vibrations. So if there's gonna be a big rock fall, a cave in, audio water busting through a coal seam somewhere, you better believe it, folks, the rats and bats are gonna know all about this stuff. All of the rats. So I asked everybody, while we're in here today, ma'am, even if you've seen one or two of these hideous creatures heading for that exit, please, let's all get moving pretty darn fast ourselves. Let's go see the mule.
What is that?
Just heard the laughter of kids and what is it? Laughter of kids and like a home video almost. So when you come down here, we don't have no service down here. So they had old lines like this that communicate back up to the surface. first aid and fire extinguisher, and that line would run all the way back up. So you got no service. Condensation on the Pioneer Tunnel. Wow, it looks better through the GoPro than it does in the thing. He said that they would put mules down here and they would stay down here for most of their lives, and that even if they went and took them out to the sunlight, the mule would actually go insane from hitting the sun. They'd have to put the mule down. So, but they were taken well care of down here. Fully stocked stables, stable boss office, little mule.
It's the vein that's still burning.
Up there.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I see the flash right in there.
It feels warm here.
Yeah.
So here this vein's still burning, one from Centralia. But it's on the other side. But it still feels like a bit of warmth here. Another buying cart of people coming down the tunnel we just came down. I'm gonna need to flash on my phone. So was it's another tunnel entrance. Can't really see much. Is that a skeleton? So pretty much here's the second opening. And he said that if we were to get trapped down here, you'd have to climb this ladder all the way up, and you can't even see, but it goes up, what, 400 feet?
400 feet to the top of the mountain.
Yeah. Let's not get trapped down here. Wow, look at that. That's amazing. Astronaut. It's pretty neat to actually be in part of the mine that actually is connected to the Centralia fires. Of course, it's on the other side of the mountain, but that vein that we showed a little bit earlier was a vein that was still actively on fire. So this is the wishing well. Your name change? Oh. Can people climb down there?
About a quarter way out the tunnel we rode in on here today. And the old template just simply unhooked the mule, taken around back. Did that 4-ton line car a little nudge, sending it, obviously, at one point, flying out through that tunnel. Now, folks, is running a couple of the most dangerous jobs of mine, but at least back in the early days. And again, this position was held anywhere from an 8 to a 15-year-old young man. He was what was known as a spragger boy. His tools were something kind of similar to this thing I have right here. It's simply a whittled down piece of oak wood. They call it a sprag. Them poor spragger boys, there would be 2 or 3 of them fellas working out at the end of that tunnel all day long. Them poor fellas, it was their job to run up alongside these 4-ton mine cars as they were flying through that tunnel all day long with one of these sprags. Try and get in a hole in the bottom of one of them wheels so it comes up around hitting the bottom of the frame. Kind of like an archaic brake. Now, folks, I'm sure we can all imagine the many hazards and many unfortunate accidents that were in this position. However, on a little bit brighter note, at least for them fellas back in their time period, if they made it through this position by the time they hit the age of 15 years old, for about a whole 25 cents more a day worth of store tokens, they could come inside and start learning how to mine coal. Now folks, back then your typical pay, they say, for a spragger boy or a mule tender was anywhere from 65 to 85 cents a day in store tokens again. Back then they didn't get paid in cash like we all use today. And then store tokens they actually had to use at the company store. The company owned the store, it owned all the houses, so therefore you had to pay the rent with these tokens as well. So if you didn't go to work, you didn't have no currency because you didn't have any of them tokens and you were pretty much done. Any questions? Well, that's me now, you want to talk to him. Friend. Any other questions? Yes.
How long did you typically work in a mine?
How long?
Yeah, like your entire life? Like,
Me?
no, like
Generally, most of them guys would have,
spent their whole life in the mine.
Right from, actually the first mine foreman I ever had underground when I first started working underground, he actually started with his father working underground when he was 8. He told me stories I'll never forget about lighting fuse and cap, the cigars. His dad would have a cigar that was gonna be down real short, he'd say, when it was time to light them fuses off, the old man, he'd just light a fresh one for himself and give the kids a short one, and they'd start lighting. Unfortunately, that guy buried himself a couple times underground too.
Alright, so here's a little mannequin taking a break in on top of a mine car. 4 ton. 4 ton. Wow. They said that the rats and bats were actually a good thing down here. So that is going to include our mine tour. And we're going to go take a steam-powered train ride around the mine. Alright, so we just got off the mine tour, Pioneer Mine Tunnel tour, and now we're about to get on this steam train. So.
Very much.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's neat. Now this is going to be our part 2 of our tour on this train. I got a ramp set up there and everything. Caboose.
You sit in the back?
I don't know. I'm assuming so. Where you want to sit? He's got. We're about to take this ride. We decided to ride in the back of the caboose. We can hear the train right now. That's the train, right? I wonder what it's doing. I don't know much. I don't know much about steam power, but engine or full power. That's different. We started off backwards, going backwards. Scenic view, mountains, and we're coming to a stop. That's the end of the tracks. Right there. Alright, so we got off, so I think we're gonna get off. Getting off and gonna walk around a little bit.
So everybody, welcome to hop off the train here.
So down there is where they would pull what? Coal out, right? The chute. Again, that's a nice view of the mountains, though. Can't really see it on the camera, but and they're leaving us. He said he joked around saying they'd come get us in a week.
The majority of the mines around, the first one being the Philadelphia and Reading corner, and the other was the Lehigh Valley corner. What we're standing in front of, I understand you can't see, but back there. Just dump it all in the abandoned strip mine. Of course, this just moved the problem from town to outside of town. So they would have the fire department come in and basically do a controlled burn. They would come out with some fusees, which is just a flare, kerosene flamethrowers basically, and just let it burn down and then put it out. Now, around Memorial Day 1962, they were doing one of these controlled burns, and, well, it burned down far enough that it started to smolder on top of this vein of coal that was still there. Now, just because you don't mine back there doesn't change the fact that there is still an exposed vein of coal back there. So, you're burning something on top, you're running the risk of lighting it back on fire. And that's what happened with the Centralia mine fire. They were doing this controlled burn, and it started to smolder on top of this vein of coal, and it did light. It took about 2 years before the state of Pennsylvania stepped in, when it wasn't just 1 or 2 houses at the time which were reporting a lot of ill health effects because of this. It was like 70% of the town. And I believe it's the Little Buck vein that is on fire right now. So a lot of these families were reporting they were getting a lot of methane in the basement, high temperatures, CO2, all bad stuff. So the state of Pennsylvania stepped in. They went around town and they drilled enough holes that they got a reading of the temperature, and it was coming back at 1,500 degrees. So something is obviously very wrong here. So after the state of Pennsylvania stepped in, they decided to start maybe pushing people to start to leave and move. But the word stubborn gets thrown up around here a lot. A lot of people just decided not to move. So around the 1980s, a couple of boys were playing around in a yard, like everybody did back then, and a mine subsidence opened, which is basically just a tunnel just collapsed. And unfortunately, this is where that mine fire was. So a tree fell in with them. They both fell in, although the first boy, he was able to climb his way out, and the second boy was able to grab onto this tree, which hadn't fallen all the way in, and the first boy was able to reach in with another branch and basically save his life. So that started the federal government to step in. And what they did was they proposed a couple of ways to put this fire out. The first one was a big 30,000 gallon shot of water all at once, but because this fire is burning so hot, it just flashed into steam, like what we use in our steam engine. The second one was they tried to snuff it out with fly ash, which is basically just ashes from burning any kind of coal. But because there's so many abandoned mine shafts around here, bootleg mine shafts, you physically cannot know where they all are. So it just dissipated into all these abandoned mine shafts and was completely ineffective. The last thing they tried to do was to try and get in front of this fire, open a strip mine there, and basically remove the fuel source. Unfortunately, while they were trying to do this, they started to dig up red hot coals, which meant that the fire was under their feet and pretty much past them. So that was ineffective. And the last I heard, it's going to be approximately $660 million to put this fire out. I don't know how they plan to do that with that much money. So around the 80s rolled around, and these boys almost got killed. They tried to put this fire out and it didn't work. So the federal government again stepped in, and they sent about 5 or 10 houses at a time an appraiser. And they would offer them fair market value for the house and about $15,000 in moving expenses to just get out. And then the government would take the house and knock it down because, you know, a lot of these abandoned houses are a huge fire risk. So it went from a town of about 3,500 people to 7. There's still 7 people, 7 of the most stubborn people of your life that still live there, and about 5 buildings. So this fire is still burning to this day. It's about 300 feet underground. You can't see it anymore, unfortunately, but it is still there, I promise you. And it's moving westward towards the town of Mount Carmel at an astonishing rate of 3 centimeters a month. It's going to be about 300 years for this fire to reach the town. However, in front of this mine fire, outside of the town of Mount Carmel, there is an active strip mine there right now. So this fire is going to do one of two things. It's going to hit this strip mine and basically stop because the fuel source is gone, or it's going to hit the watershed and that's going to put it out. At least I hope it does. But like I said, it's going to take about 300 years for this to happen, and I really hope I'm not here giving this tour. Now, a little bit something about our locomotive, even though it's not here. It is actually one of only 2 anthracite-fired steam locomotives that still operate to this day. And it's turning 92 this August, and it still runs like the day it was made, brand new out of the shop. There is our Henry Clay, and I call it the little guy because it is a little guy. It is a narrow gauge steam locomotive. It's about 42 inches between the rails. Okay, I hear him. I'm trying to gauge my time. And the other locomotive is over in the town of Minersville. That's a standard gauge locomotive. It's also a switcher, just like this, but a lot bigger. In fact, it is so big that you can fit 3 Henry Clays in its boiler barrel. I don't know when we're going to run the 113 next, but if you go to the town of Minersville, just look for the train station and... I'm trying to wrap this up. If you go to the train station in Minersville and you'll see the 113. Usually on the weekends, there's somebody working on it, and I do volunteer on it when I get the chance. So it's an absolute honor to be working on all this really awesome antique steam equipment. So that's all I have for you guys, and our train is back. So
All right, so we just wrapped up here at the Pioneer Tunnel and the gift shop and the tours of the mine that they used to mine. And we are going to go head over to Centralia. But if you like videos like this and want to see more videos like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and we will catch you guys in the next one.